When should a new driver use cruise control? What are the pros and cons of using cruise control? Welcome to episode 25 of Throwing Your Parents Under the Bus. I'm Jane Hubel, and with me today is veteran crash investigator and driver safety expert Mike Pehl. Hi, Mike.
Hello.
And the keeper of our enrichments, Natasha Johnson. Natasha, what observation have you found for us today?
So today we received an email from Jennifer, who is a mom of a new driver. She asked us, what are Mike's thoughts on cruise control? Is this safe for newish drivers? If there is a concern, how many hours, months, years of driving would he recommend before using it? We don't have adaptive cruise, she says. So for me personally, I just used cruise control for the first time. I've been driving for 20 plus years. And I finally used it. So I think I maybe have waited long enough.
Did you like it?
I loved it.
Okay.
I was like, I can't believe I haven't been doing this.
Okay, well, geez. Natasha, wow.
I know.
Right, so great question. Oh man, what are my thoughts? I gotta tell you something. Up until a few years ago, I was an absolute don't use it, don't get used to it. It makes a lazy driver. You know, I've had kids in my car that get in there and they ask if they can use cruise control, and then I explain why we shouldn't. Okay. Because it does make a lazy driver. When people get in the car, they put their cruise on, they put their head back against side headrest, you know, and then they just go down the road until technology brings up this adaptive cruise. Wow, wow, wow. But there's pros and cons on both sides. Old cruise, I don't like. I understand if you're on a long trip that you have to sometimes put it on cruise, rest that foot, do whatever. I'm going to say if you fall asleep with the old cruise, you're going in the ditch, you're going to roll your car, you're going to probably kill people, kill yourself, don't know. That's what old cruise does, because you can fall asleep with it. So until we get through this transitional period of technology, rotisserie phones to cell phones. Think about that.
I think they're rotary, but yes.
Oh, like this. Is that a chicken?
Whoops. Well, Emma, are you there? So when we get through all that with the old cruise to the new cruise, this new cruise, folks, here's what I love about it. Well, first of all, let me give you a story, even with the adaptive cruise. So for you ones that don't know what that is your car today, you can put it on cruise control. You will not hit a thing. It'll stop you before you hit a tree. It'll stop you before you hit another car. If you fall asleep and you have lane assist, because here's what we got to worry about. Some cars have adaptive cruise, but they don't have lane assist. So is your car going to go off the road on cruise? Your car will wake you up. It'll do, well, and I got to back up. Most cars, because we have different manufacturers, we have cheaper models. So you got to do your homework on this. So you get that adaptive cruise with lane assist. I got to tell you something. With a new driver, you can get into a whole busy crowd of freeway driving. You set that cruise where it needs to be. It sets your following distance. It doesn't let you get any closer than this, but it still makes a lazy driver. Makes a safer driver, I think. Where I like it is I always tell when we do road trips and I tell my wife, I'm tired, can you drive? I always tell her, she doesn't like cruise. I said, you don't have to like cruise, but I want you to set the cruise lower than you're going. So if the speed limit's 70 and she sets the cruise at 65, because that way if she nods off, gets distracted on whatever signs, the cruise will kick in, won't let it hit her or anything. It's good. In saying all that, I'm going to give you a personal story of mine with a student. Two stories. Yes, me, Mike Pehl. First one is here's what we got to be careful of. My personal cars, we have a car with adaptive cruise, which means you can set it. You won't hit the car in front of you. It'll slow you down, blah, 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 blah. And then we have an older Buick that does not have that. So I got used to using this adaptive cruise because I check everything out in all cars. curves and everything on the lane assist. It's just amazing. So I have cruise control on in my wife's car. And all of a sudden, we're getting really close to the car coming up. And I said, Mike, I had to hit my brake. I forgot I wasn't in the adaptive cruise car. And that's me. Yes, Mike Pehl, guys, you just heard it. Yeah, shame on me. But once again, good lesson, that a reminder that, you know what, as our cars become self-driving, in the end, it's still our responsibility. And you're hearing that all over the place now. And I'm not going to get into models and all that are crashing because they did this and that, but you need to know it. Another story. So I'm driving on a behind the wheel lesson with a girl, and we are on a freeway lesson, doing a freeway. And we're going down the road, and she said, I said, I want you to put, she was actually was fighting the cruise because she asked if she could use a cruise. I said, yeah, but this has got the adaptive cruise, and I want you to feel. What I don't like about the adaptive cruise is it does keep you closer to the center of the road, where that's not what I teach. I want to be away from head-on collisions, not closer to them. But anyway, she had her, she asked if she could use it. I said, yes. And then we talked about exactly what we just did. Well, we're driving down a freeway on a left curve. Think of your cars going to the left. We're in the right lane. Well, your adaptive cruise control goes by lines. So it doesn't work real well in construction when there's barrels outside the lines. Careful. And what happens when there's no lines and they haven't been painted yet? So as we turn the curve going 65 miles an hour, all of a sudden there's an exit going off to the right. Guess what we didn't have? A line to keep her in her lane, and the car literally shot up the ramp at 65 miles an hour. Boom, it sensed the line over there, so it was gone. You know, so I had to grab the steering wheel. I go, what are you doing? The car did it by itself.
That's scary.
That's so
What
scary.
happens if there's snow? Do they see the line? What happens?
You know what? I've never used snow, cruise in the snow, and I'm going to tell you, don't do it. Don't do it when it's raining hard, raining, the conditions.
Bad weather.
Yes, I would not do it because, you know, if you look at if you do a research on the new windshields of today's car, man, they got radar up there. They got everything up in that, right where your rear view mirror goes. You see little triangles now. Man, you need to really see what these engineers have done in these cars. You know, little eyeballs down on the bumper grills and the sides, and you know. But here's the thing: we cannot. You have to have the right car to do that. So the problem is the driver is getting used to it, and then we're moving into different cars. And let's face it, mom and dad, the answer to your question, when should I teach my kid to use it? Are you going to buy your kid a brand new car with all these features when they turn 16 and they're driving by themselves? And the answer to that is probably no. Okay, so we teach to all the benefits of all this, which is great. You know, it's lazy. Let's put it that way. It is making us crasher freer, if that's a word. It's
More
not
crash free, I think.
Yeah, but crasher freer, that's Mike Pehl's way of saying it.
Okay.
But it can get you in trouble because, you know, I always look at kids are going to drive a friend's car. They just, I don't know. So,
Well, I think sometimes if you're just learning to drive, you should really learn to drive versus having the car have all these gadgets that probably, okay, you're going to have to know what everything is, all these gadgets that you need to learn before you even, when you're just still even learning just to drive. That seems kind of unnerving to me.
Why do we need cruise control in a town when you're only going 4 miles?
Right.
You know, why do we need cruise control when you're jumping out in the freeway and you're going 5 miles to the next exit? You know, that's when we need to work on our speed fluctuation and not a brake. You know, where we do our speed fluctuation with a gas pedal instead of gas brake, everybody, the brake lights come on. There's just so many things. So I'm going to say in the beginning, no cruise control. Even in the end, cruise control very lightly. I mean, in the situation where, yeah, I don't know, it's getting, when you, see, it's a 50-50 shot. This new stuff is pretty nice when it doesn't hit anything, but it's all.
Not everyone has it either. So
Yeah.
you might have all of that, but the guy next to you doesn't. And like you say, if you're close to the center lane and that car comes over and this car doesn't move, or, you know, that would be unnerving that your car's moving when your brain's going, why did it do that?
Yes.
And
Yeah.
I think that would be, well, for me, make me kind of anxious of what my car's going to do when I'm learning to drive.
Right. So Natasha, great job, but
A little long.
smart.
Well, but you were ready then for it because you probably hadn't driven in long trips, that you were the
Yeah,
driver.
this was from South Carolina home, so it was like a 7-hour drive.
Yes,
So
so
finally
that-
I'm like, okay.
And you're on a straightaway for a long time. 'Cause
Yes.
you get on 94 and it's the whole way just getting home.
Mhm.
So
Right.
I'd say that's okay. Not that I'm in charge, but anyway, that's
You'll
your
allow it.
information, Mike, because that cruise control is an iffy thing, and with the changes of all the cars, it's worth noting.
Yes.
But anyway, that's it for today's episode of Throwing Your Parents Under the Bus. We thank you for joining us. And if you want to watch any of our other episodes, we would like it if you subscribe to our YouTube channel, which is going to youtube.com/drive safe, ride safe 1, which is the number, not the word. And so that you can see all of our podcasts and videos that can keep you and your family safe on the roads. You can also check out Buzzsprout to listen to any of our podcast episodes. And remember,
To drive safe.
And ride safe.
.com.
Yeah.
Have a great one. Thank you.